I've coached my son's youth baseball team for 4 seasons, and 3 weeks ago I benched my own kid for the regional semi-final because he lied to me about something small, and his mother, my ex-wife, has not let me be alone in a room with her anger since. The team won. Caleb has not spoken to me in 11 days. I'm not sure which of those facts I am supposed to feel better about. Caleb is 13 and genuinely talented in a way I try not to overstate, because I am his father, and I know what that bias can do to a person's judgment. He has been the starting center fielder since he was 10. He works hard, he takes instruction, and unlike a lot of kids his age, he actually likes the game rather than just performing liking it for the adults around him. Coaching him has been one of the better things in my life since the divorce, which I realize sounds like I needed it more than he did. That's probably true. 3 weeks ago, 2 days before the semi-final, I told the entire team no video games and in bed by 10 on school nights during playoff week. Not because I'm a tyrant, but because we'd had 2 practices in a row where kids were showing up foggy and slow, and I needed everyone present. I said it to the group, and then I said it specifically to Caleb on the drive home. He nodded. He said, "Yeah, Dad, I know." The night before the game, his older cousin was visiting. I called at 9:30 to check in, and Caleb said he was getting ready for bed. He sounded fine. I said, "Good. See you tomorrow. Get some rest." His aunt, who is not careful with what she mentions and when, told me the next morning at the field that the boys had been up past 1 playing something on the PlayStation. She said it casually, like a fun anecdote about cousins being cousins. I smiled at her, and then walked to the dugout and stood there for about 3 minutes before I made my decision. I told Caleb he was starting on the bench. I told him why. He looked at me the way kids look at you when they're deciding whether to cry or get angry, and he landed on angry, which I respected more even though it was harder to receive. He said I was seriously doing this before the biggest game of the year. I said I was. He said every other coach would let it go right now. I said I understood that, and he was still on the bench for the first 3 innings. We were down by 1 in the 4th when I put him in. He went 2 for 3 with a run scored. We won by 2. I thought that was the end of it. His mother called me from the parking lot before the celebration had finished. She said I had humiliated our son on the most important day of his season to prove a point about authority, and that he was 13 years old, and that whatever he had done did not warrant public embarrassment in front of his teammates and their families. She said I had let my coaching role override my role as his father. That sentence has been living in my head since she said it. I told her he had looked me in the eye on the phone and lied to me directly. She said he was a teenage boy who wanted to hang out with his cousin, and that I was treating a white lie like a federal offense. I said it wasn't about the video games. She said then, "What is it about?" I said it's about him understanding that what he tells me is something I actually believe. And she said, "That is a grown man's problem dressed up as a parenting lesson." My brother thinks I was right. He said if Caleb had lied about something bigger next month and I'd let this slide, I'd have contributed to that. My buddy Terrence, who has 2 teenagers, said he understood the principle, but the timing was brutal and there were other ways to handle it that didn't involve a playoff game. Caleb texted me 4 days after the game. Just a link to a baseball highlight video we both like. No message attached. I sent back a thumbs up because I didn't know what else to do, and I was afraid that anything more would be too much or not enough. He did not respond to the thumbs up. We have not spoken since. I keep replaying the moment I told him he was benched, the specific look on his face, and trying to determine whether what I saw in it was a kid learning something or a kid losing something. I coached 37 games before this one, and I have never been less certain about a decision I made on that field. The team advances to the regional final next Saturday. Caleb's name is on the starting lineup.